Hey guys, good afternoon and welcome back to the channel United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Hope everyone is having a fantastic weekend so far in this glorious weather in the UK on this Saturday afternoon. And I hope everyone's looking forward to a brand new week in April 2023. First of all, do me a massive favour, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, that is United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel and the community if you are new. Remember to share the video, hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button, and remember to put that notification bell on at all times to receive dedicated content right throughout the rest of 2023 on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube for more Fortnite content, Hogwarts Legacy, Kingdom Hearts 4, F1 23, FIFA 23 career modes, Football Manager, and much more. Brand stuff planned for the rest of this year on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. So please subscribe to the channel and the community if you are new, and good afternoon to everybody. And welcome to the reaction. The reaction between Manchester United and Everton in Manchester United's 2-0 home win against Everton Football Club on match day 29 for Manchester United at Old Trafford Football Stadium, which was the 12:30 p.m. home afternoon lunchtime kickoff. Full-time result, Manchester United 2, Everton 0. A game that I think Man United deserved the points from, a game that I think Man United deserved the win from, and I feel like in the first half Manchester United were probably an absolute machine on speed. Man United probably were the better team out of both teams. I feel like in the first half, we were the better team dominating the game. We were dominating possession. We were dominating with the ball. The amount of chances we had on Everton's goal was crazy. I mean, it easily could have been 6-7-0 up at half-time. That is how easy Everton made it for Manchester United. I felt like Everton paid a bit too much respect to Man United's attacking play. I feel like they couldn't really deal with the threat from Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Antony, and Marcel Sabitzer. I do feel like, in my opinion, those four players are probably the best players out of that Man United performance from today. I do feel like we didn't take our chances from the first half. I mean, we had 21 shots on target, which didn't go in. And I felt, for me, that was very poor for a first half performance when we've got clinical players up front that really should be putting the ball in the net. And that was a very big worry. And then obviously Scott McTominay finally found the breakthrough with 8 minutes to go before halftime to put Manchester United in the lead. And that was a breath of fresh air to get 1-0 up at halftime and get into the lead of the game. And I'm thinking, thank God, we've actually got the goal before halftime. Everton heads dropped, the confidence dropped, and the morale of those Everton players hit the floor. And I feel like, if that result would have been a bit better in the first half, what the score could have been at half-time, it would have been absolutely crazy because simply Everton couldn't cope. And I feel like, the formation they played with Michael Keane and Seamus Coleman, Ben Godfrey at centre-back, it clearly didn't work for Everton. And I felt like Everton were massively wide open today. And I felt like Everton simply just couldn't deal with the threat of Manchester United. And I feel like they already knew that they weren't going to get the result. And I do feel like, I'm also in my opinion, that Everton knew the game was up after 1-0. And I feel like, as soon as Everton go 1-0 down, the game's gone, the players have gone, the morale's on the floor. Everton basically shut up shop and think to themselves, do you know what? We're not going to win this game. We're not going to get a result from Old Trafford. And basically the game is lost. Man United are playing better. They're dominating us in that first half. And I feel like those Everton players, massively down-tooled in that game, because I feel like in that first half, Everton didn't come out the traps. Everton basically let Manchester United onto them. And Man United, Everton nearly paid the price, because, I mean, the amount of chances Antony had, 3 or 4 golden chances to put Man United ahead in that first half. The absolute miss of the season from Aaron Wan-Bissaka as well. How Aaron Wan-Bissaka does not put that ball in the net to find the Manchester United lead before half-time. The amount of chances Marcus Rashford also had as well. The chances in that first half were absolutely crazy. And I felt like this was edging towards a 0-0 result. And I felt like if this was a 0-0 result, the likes of Newcastle and Spurs are going to start breathing down our necks again. And if we didn't find that goal before halftime, what would it have been at halftime? And I feel like those players were probably still given quite a big rocket up their ass at halftime because, we were the better team. That was probably our best performance so far this season, compared to obviously the Leicester result when we beat them 3-0. I did feel like, we did take the momentum from what we did against Brentford in midweek when we won 1-0, thanks to Marcus Rashford's goal. That, in the first 15 minutes, Manchester United were absolutely superb. And I thought, you know what? If Man United keep playing like this, they'll surely find the back of the net. But it had to wait till the 37th minute. And I felt like, we should have started burying teams like Everton at home. If we can't do that, then we're in big, big trouble to find a result, because also losing Marcus Rashford, which looks like a groin injury. And I think if Marcus Rashford is also out injured long term, I do not know where this club is going to head, because it's massively, massively worrying that we've probably lost our main goal scoring threat in that team for the next few games. And I'm hoping the groin injury from Marcus Rashford isn't that severe that he ain't going to miss too many games. But if it's a bad groin injury, I do think Man United are in big, big trouble, because I do feel like, in my opinion, we haven't got the players to be able to replace in form Marcus Rashford's goals. And that is a big, big worry heading into the rest of this season, that if Marcus Rashford is out long term with this groin injury, how many games is he going to be out for, and who the hell is going to be able to play in the place of Marcus Rashford? Because I do feel like I looked at that bench and it's starting to look a bit better. And I did look at that team today. There's still question marks over some of those players' commitment today. I did feel like defensively at the back, Harry Maguire also was a big, big concern, because Demarai Gray was having an absolute field day running past Harry Maguire, running past that empty fridge with no food in it. Harry Maguire is becoming an absolute liability as captain. He's becoming a liability in defence. I do feel like, in my opinion, that if Harry Maguire continues to keep getting selected in this team and he continues to have that armband round him as captain, I just feel like Harry Maguire is going to be kept next season and they're not going to be able to get rid of him. And I felt like, if Demarai Gray would have took his chances and he would have been a bit more clinical, I do feel like Everton probably could have gone on and won this game, because Demarai Gray was probably Everton's biggest threat whole game, because Everton simply didn't have the threat of Calvert-Lewin. They didn't really have the threat of Doucouré, because obviously he picked up a red card against Spurs. So Doucouré was missing from that midfield. And I do feel like Onana probably didn't have his best game in midfield for Everton either. So Everton had chances to get that result different, but Man United in the end were the better team, and they do deserve the result, because we have the better players, we have the better manager, and we have the better coaching staff to be able to grind out results against like Everton. And it should have been more. I'm just worried, but if we don't score enough goals, how the hell are we not going to be able to put the opposition away? And we do need to be more clinical. I completely agree with what the commentators were saying on BT Sport, that Man United aren't clinical enough, and this is the big, big problem I've been saying all season. And now you've lost Marcus Rashford to injury. This season could absolutely derail very, very quickly, because if you look at the players that came on in the second half, the only impact one player had was probably Eriksen and Anthony Martial. They're probably two of our best performers in that second half. Anthony Martial to find the goal. Eriksen's come back from injuries, a massive positive heading in to a severe game midweek. And obviously to get Anthony Martial back on the goal scoring sheet as well is a massive, massive bonus for Manchester United. But can you trust him to be able to replace the injured Marcus Rashford? And you also look at the impact Weghorst and Aviva didn't really make an impact what you wanted, didn't really offer Man United a goal scoring threat. And I really do worry, but if this Rashford injury is bad, can these players be able to step up to the mark? Can these players be able to replace Rashford's goals? And can these players really offer a chance on a threat on goal against the opposition? I'm really deeply concerned now, because losing Rashford, who has buried 28 goals this season, if you lose that for the next 5-6 games, I'm looking at that team and I don't feel confident that those players really can be able to find the back of the net. And that was a big worry today, because, Man United had 21 shots. We should have had been at least, 5, 6, 7-0 up at half time. Everton were there for the take. And basically Everton was saying, come on, Manchester United, we'll let you attack us, but we'll just defend and we'll break away on the counter-attack. And we simply kept winning the ball back, and Everton just let us kept coming on. And obviously it didn't work today that, Manchester United do deserve the win. And please subscribe to the channel if you're new, by the way. You're all legends and you're all legendary. And hello to Ufar in the chat as well, on our live chat. I just feel like, it's a good result. It's a 2-0 win, but this could have been a lot more emphatic if we would have been a lot more clinical. And I also do agree with another comment on the commentators that against the bigger teams, against the better opposition, if Man United aren't clinical enough and they don't take their chances in front of goal, where is this club going to head? Where is this club really going to have an opportunity to find the ball in the net? That's a big worry for me, because I feel like that team is reliant a lot on the midfield. That team is reliant on a lot of the attack. And I do feel like that defence is a big, big worry going forward. I do feel like in the second half, Everton did change formation because obviously bringing Mikalenko on at left back, Everton seemed to basically shut a shop and basically say, do you know what? We know we've lost the game. We can't really find an impact. In fact, Manchester United, we're not going to be able to find an impact that we can get a result from. The game's gone. We've lost the game. And I felt like Everton in the second half, they were the better team until we found the Martial second goal, because obviously it was onside. I don't know why VAR even looking at it. It was clearly onside. You couldn't rule Martial's goal out. And, at least he's got the goal now. Will that do Martial's confidence good? I'm not 100% sure, because did I look at that team in the second half and did I look at that bench and I looked at the impact of some of those players? It didn't really get me off the end of my feet. It didn't really get me excited that Man United were able to find the result from. And it should have been more. And it really, really should. I do feel that Old Trafford crowd did deserve a lot more goals today, because Everton were basically crumbling. I mean, if you look at that performance as a whole, that was great in the first half. It was electric. That is what Manchester United should be doing on a weekly basis. That is what that team should be doing against opposition like Everton. That is what you should be doing against teams putting the ball in the net. And if we haven't got that, then I don't know where the goals are going to come from, because I don't want Marcus Rashford being that injured. We cannot afford to lose him. And I do feel like he is now going to have a scan on this groin injury. Will this groin injury, be lengthy? Will it be short? And will he be fit to play Thursday? And I think Erik ten Hag is going to have a deep, deep conversation with Marcus Rashford and say, look, I can't afford to lose you for midweek. I can't afford to lose you for the game against Sevilla on Thursday night in the Europa League quarter-final first leg. We need to win the Europa League. I'm basically reliant on you up front and on the left wing to be able to deliver an impact against the Sevilla back four. I need you fit for the rest of the season. I can't afford to rely on the bench. I can't rely on the options I've got also to be able to give me the impact I want in the first and the second half. And if Ten Hag's got to have that conversation with Marcus Rashford, he's going to have it, and he's going to have it very quickly, because if Marcus Rashford is out to 6 to 7 weeks, that is a big, big worry heading until the end of the season in May, because we've still got the Europa League in, we've still got the FA Cup semi-final, and we've still got the run-in till the end of this Premier League campaign. And if Marcus Rashford is out for the rest of this campaign, and if you're having to then rely on Anthony Martial and Wout Weghorst to get the goals, I simply don't get no confidence from that. I don't get any positivity. I don't get any atmosphere. I don't get any confidence that those two are going to be able to do the job up front while Marcus Rashford is out of this groin injury. And you never know. This groin injury might not be as bad as what we think. I'm looking at it from a bigger point of view. As soon as I saw him pulled up, I thought to myself, that's your groin gone. That's a bad groin injury you've picked up, and you're in big, big trouble, Marcus, now, because that injury is probably going to keep you out for weeks. But you never know. Marcus Rashford might be able to turn this around. He may be able to get himself fit if he's got the commitment there and the desire to get back from injury. And I mean, if it's only a pull, it really shouldn't affect him against Sevilla Thursday. But if it's a really, really bad break in his groin, or he's pulled it badly, then Ten Hag is not going to take any risks against on Thursday night. And I do feel like he'll probably rest Rashford next week's for the weekend game against Nottingham Forest as well. But I don't think we can be able to afford to do that, because he was causing Everton so many problems in that first half. He was getting past Michael Keane. He was getting past Seamus Coleman. Basically, Everton let Marcus Rashford do trouble to them. They were letting him do the damage in that first half. And Marcus Rashford, the early chance he had on, he really should have put that ball in the net. There was not enough power on that shot. There was not enough finesse to put the ball in the net past Jordan Pickford. And I do feel like probably Everton's best player in that first half was Jordan Pickford. The amount of saves he was making to keep Man United out, it was basically watching a cat chase a pigeon, and the cat has finally caught the pigeon, and the pigeon has had to be sacrificed. And Jordan Pickford was putting himself on the line. Every single attack Man United had, he found a way to save the shots being aimed at him in his net. And that is what Jordan Pickford does as a goalkeeper. He has good games and then he has bad games, but he was probably Everton's man of the match, if I'm being honest, because I looked at that Everton team. They're missing Toure, they're missing Calvert-Lewin, they haven't really replaced them. And if you're looking at Everton bench, you're playing Ellis Sims up front, who's basically a BTEC Championship striker at best, who was on loan at Sunderland. He can't do it in the Premier League. I think after seeing that, I don't see where Everton's goals are going to come from. I don't think Ellis Sims, you look at the chance he had early on as well. Who is marking Ellis Sims? I mean, you've got Malacia here, Martinez here, and the big gap here in the middle, Ellis Sims has run through that gap. He's one-on-one and De Gea. If he puts that ball in the net, we are then in big trouble in the second half to find an equaliser, get a second goal, and then go on and win the game convincingly. And I think if Ellis Sims, if that was in a Sunderland shirt, he probably would have put that in the net. But because it's the Premier League and the pressure is on him up front to find the goals for Everton, he basically knows he's been screwed because he knows he hasn't got the confidence and the skill and ability to be able to step it up in the Premier League because he's been so used to playing Championship football with Sunderland. He's come back to Everton, who was expected to start under Lampard when they recalled him off his loan from Sunderland. Lampard's been sacked. Sean Dyche has actually probably believed in Ellis Sims and probably given an opportunity to say, look, what can you do up front instead of Calvert-Lewin? Can you do a job for me that Calvert-Lewin can't do at the moment? And I felt like if that goes in, I don't know where Man United would have found the response from, because if you can't convert 21 shots on goal in the first half, Man United aren't finding a goal. They're not finding the equaliser. They're not going to find the response, and Man United will not win that game. And I'm thinking, thank God, McTominay and Martial were in there in the right place at the right time to find the goals they got for our win, because if this finishes 0-0, this is a massive step backwards towards Champions League qualification, because you would then have Newcastle breathing down your neck, Spurs breathing down your neck. And, we've gone 3 points clear of Newcastle. We've gone 6 points clear of Spurs. We're 10 points clear of Brighton. You look at the clearance between us and Liverpool, us and Chelsea and Brentford and Fulham and Aston Villa. We are creeping away from them now because we are putting teams away now. And that is what I like. We're putting these teams away now. But 2-0 leads and sitting at a 1-0 lead is a very, very dangerous outcome for Man United, because if they don't find the second goal and Everton find the equaliser, I'm looking at that team and I think to myself, where am I finding this second goal from? Because I don't think personally Man United had it in them to find these goals today. And if you're having 21 shots on goal, you have to look at attacking front three. Why are they not doing better to be able to put the ball in the net to basically get this game won? This game is 4-5-0 at half time. The second half means nothing because the game's won, the result's in, the points are there. Everton know the game would have been up anyway. But if Man United would have done that, could you imagine what the second half score would have been as well? This game could have easily been 8-9-0. And I do feel sorry for the fans and supporters who witnessed that Old Trafford, because I felt like you did deserve a goal fest. You deserved a cloud number 9 result. You deserved like a 9-0 win over what we witnessed against Southampton. That is what I wanted out of that team today. And winning 2-0 was a good result. We've kept 2 clean sheets in 2 games now. We've won back-to-back Premier League games. It's the first time since we won the Carabao Cup against Newcastle United. At least we're keeping clean sheets and we're keeping teams out. I just feel like if we're playing better opposition, they will find goals past De Gea, because that defence is still so wide open. And if Maguire's a liability and the clearance between Malacia and Lissandro Martinez, the gap was so wide open. Ellis Sims puts that ball in. We're 1-0 down. And if that's going to be the outcome between Malacia and Martinez, I've got big concerns, because I felt like Malacia today, he didn't really have his best game. I thought he was bloody awful at left back. And I feel like now I can see why Luke Shaw's getting justified to start at left back. But Luke Shaw is out injured again. He wasn't fit for the game today. He is now out injured. Don't know how long Luke Shaw's going to be out injured for, but we're basically relying on Malacia now for probably the next 5 to 6 games. But if they're going to leave gaps between Martinez and Malacia that wide open, can you imagine the damage the opposition front players are going to do to De Gea's net? Because that gap's there. They're just going to walk through that gap and go unmarked, unattached. They put the ball in net. United are 1-0 down. And I thought that was probably the worst bit of defending I've seen all side from this United team today. I thought, like, if Sims does better, how the hell will Man United win this game? I'm not 100% sure I won that game, because we simply, after the first 15 minutes, which we were emphatic, all of a sudden Everton come out of the blocks, and all of a sudden Man United are letting Everton attack them, and Everton are getting chances on goal, and Tamari Gray's having a fun time round Maguire. They couldn't keep Tamari Gray quiet. I felt like Man United felt like, do you know what? We've done well for the first 15 minutes. We can't really get past Everton. Do we let them attack us and then we break them on the counter-attack? But United did deserve a lot more outcome from that result today. It should have been a more emphatic scoreline. This game sits different. This is 4-5-0. You look at the performance, the confidence and the energy coming from those players today. And I felt like, if we're looking at the game as a whole, there's probably 4 standout players from that game today that basically do get my man of the match role, because I feel like, they were Manchester United's 4 best players. I felt like they created more opportunities. They had a load of chances. They had a load of assists as well. So I felt like today that was probably Manchester United at that best. I do feel like Eriksen probably gave them a washing down after the result against Brentford, and they realised that 1-0 lead over Brentford was probably not enough to win the game. But obviously we got the win and we got the result. And obviously I think as soon as we found the first goal, the confidence was there to go on and find the second, but it had to wait until the second half. Martial was there at the right place at the right time. Thank God he's back scoring goals. But can he do the job long-term up front with Weghorst if Rashford's injury? That's a big, big question mark I've got to think about now. Is Antony a good right winger? Because the amount of chances he had with the brilliance of Bruno Fernandes today, the assist Fernandes was finding for Antony was absolutely crazy. Everton was so wide open at the back. And then you see the clearance from De Gea to then find Antony as well. Antony should have had an hat-trick today. That is how great Antony is on right wing. He's an absolute superstar in the making. And that is why he's one of my 4 man of the match winners, because on that right wing, we don't really have that player, which we didn't have a few years ago. We didn't have that type of player. But now Antony's came in, he's absolutely transformed that right wing. And for me, he was probably Man United's biggest threat in that first half with the goals, because if he would have found both of those goals, this is 2-0 up at half-time. The game's won. We could then have gone and found a third and then a fourth. We could have killed the game off. And that is what I think Man United should have done today. If Man United would have killed the game off, the game's done in the second half. We could afford to have rotated, and then Ten Hag could have made the right change at the right time to be able to rest some of these key first-team players in midweek. And I feel like, in my opinion, also that you've got the quality of Sabitzer sitting out in midfield as well. And I think Sabitzer's completely transformed that midfield today. I feel like he had one of his best performances in a Man United shirt. He has 2-3 good chances in the first half to put the ball in the net, and he didn't take them. But Sabitzer has offered a lot more quality in that midfield than what McTominay and Fred have done. I do feel like he had his best game in a United shirt today. He was creating so many chances for himself. He was great with the ball. He was great with possession, and his communication with his teammates around him. Sabitzer offers that missing diamond in the rough that Man United did not have in that midfield. And I felt like Man United, without Sabitzer, I do not know what this midfield would have been today. It probably would have been Fred, McTominay and Fernandes. We probably would have gone back to the midfield that, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Ralph Rangnick had last season. And I do feel like as a whole that if we would have had that midfield today, I do feel that midfield would have been lacking so much quality in that today if Sabitzer is not sat next to Fernandes, because he was making so many opportunities for himself. And that is what, like Sabitzer, he makes so many clever runs into that box to put the ball in the net. And we didn't get that last season. And he's putting his neck on the line to put United in front. And that is what I like. He's putting commitment there. He's running into the box. He's showing what he can do in a Man United shirt. And I feel like I don't think Man United can miss out on Sabitzer in the summer transfer window. Man United have to sign Marcel Sabitzer permanently from Bayern Munich. I feel like he's been such a great player since we signed him on loan in the January transfer window, and he's added so much midfield quality that United team simply didn't have. And I feel like as a whole that 18 million is not to be sneezed at. If you can get him for 18 million, I would get him permanently now. I would get this deal done now and bring Sabitzer permanently in already for next summer, that he's in a United shirt already to be a full-time Man United player. And that is what I think he's going to be able to do. I think Sabitzer is going to be able to offer the quality in replacement if McTominay and Fred are both gone next season, which I think they both will anyway. And I don't think McTominay had a great game either. I thought McTominay probably had a dreadful first half. I don't get any confidence out of him on the ball. He gives the ball away too much. He loses possession way too much. He takes too many ambitious passes he can't make. Even though he got the goal and got us the lead, I do feel like in that game, McTominay was probably a massive liability in that midfield. I don't think personally he can do a job in that midfield with Sabitzer and Fernandes. Playing McTominay at CDM is an absolute car crash waiting to happen. He's becoming an absolute liability in several games. I do feel like, obviously, the hype over the international break when he was on fire for Scotland has been taken into the United dressing room. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's justified rating a crap midfielder who only gets in the Scottish midfield because the Scotland team haven't got any better midfielders in that team than McTominay. And I don't feel like he got any credit today because, I don't think he had a good performance. And then as soon as Fred came on as well, I was like, we're back to the old system again. And it clearly doesn't work. And I think Ten Hag has got to realise that, there is enough frustration seeing these two in that midfield again this season that it don't deserve to be starting in a Man United shirt, personally. I don't think they're ever going to be good enough. I don't think they've got the game or the level to be able to adapt to Eric Ten Hag's style of play. And I do think long-term they're not going to be options in that midfield. And if the comments are true about what Scott McTominay's come out and said, that he wants to be out of Man United in the summer, he wants to leave the football club if he's put down the pecking order anymore in that Man United midfield, well, you can see why McTominay is put down the pecking order in that midfield, because you're not good enough, Scott. I'm sorry. You may have got your goal today and you took it very, very well to put it past Jordan Pickford, but long term, mate, Christian Eriksen is 10 times the level what you are. Casemiro is 10 times the level that you're ever going to be. Sabitzer is 10 times the level that you're going to be as well. And I don't think really, if you've got players moaning and knocking on the manager's door saying they want out of the football club and they want to leave, players like that shouldn't be featuring ever again in a Man United shirt. The law needs to be laid down now that those players are going to come out of those comments behind the scenes saying they want out of the football club and they want to leave. They really shouldn't be in a Man United shirt ever again. We need to start being brutal and honest with this squad and these players, because the truth is, if these players don't want to be here, then you simply know where the door is. But, apart from that today, like, that midfield is basically back to McFred again. And I think, we are missing Casemiro. Thank God we've got him back for the Sevilla game on Thursday. Missing Casemiro from the last 3 games has been an absolute nightmare waiting to happen. Casemiro has probably been CDM of the season in the Premier League. He's absolutely done such a marvellous job in that Man United midfield. And without a CDM, I don't know where we would be this season, because Casemiro is being able to control that midfield. He's being able to control the ball. He's sitting in front of the back four and dominating the possession and being able to leash the front players forward on, because Casemiro is simply able to do the CDM job on his own, because he's got the quality and the experience in playing for Real Madrid in the Champions League and winning Champions League titles and the Liga titles left, right and centre. And I feel like, thank God he's available Thursday against Sevilla in the Europa League. And I feel like if he's in that team today, this game would have been won by a lot more, because, McTominay's not a CDM, Fred's not a CDM. They're both centre attacking midfielders. And I just don't think, if Fred and McTominay are going to keep being in this team and they keep getting chance, I do feel how the hell is Casemiro going to get back in this team? But obviously I think he'll go straight back into the team for the game against Sevilla on Thursday night, because I think United have really, really struggled to control the game against the opposition, because the opposition is simply being able to shut down the less quality of McTominay and Fred, because they see the liability, they see the cracks, they see the errors in both of those games. And I felt like that today was probably a sign that we need Casemiro back in ASAP. Enough of McTominay and Fred this season. They don't deserve any more chances, in my opinion. I felt like also today that, what is happening with Jadon Sancho. And there was a lot of hype and a lot of praise getting off the BT Sport pundits today. I mean, did they actually watch their game with their eyes shut? I can see why Ten Hag has come out and made those comments, if they're true. If he is getting severely frustrated with Jadon Sancho, then I do feel like maybe it's time to end this nightmare. Has it been a nightmare since Jadon Sancho's been here? In my opinion, I think I'm now starting to figure out why, because he's not showing the form that he did at Borussia Dortmund. We spent 75 million on a backup option off the bench. I don't think Sancho really should have started in that game today. I don't feel like he had any impact on that game. I thought he was quite woeful with possession. He can't track back. He can't take on 3 or 4 opposition players. He can't really run at the defence, and he can't really make opportunities for the strikers in the box or the other midfielders running in to make a late run to put the ball in the net. And I felt like Jadon Sancho had such a bad game again today. I've not seen anything. It was a massive positive that he was performing so well against Brentford on Wednesday night, and all of a sudden he's gone back into his shell again of the same old inconsistent Jadon Sancho. And I do feel like, do we need better than that? Do we need better than Jadon Sancho? Would you move him on in the summer? Would you sell him? Do you think he had a good game today? Because I felt like in that 90-minute game, I thought if this is Jadon Sancho we've got to put up with all season, then I don't see where the quality is going to be able to come from. I really, really don't. And it was on show today that I think Sancho's confidence is gone. I do feel like his heart's not in it. I don't think he believes in his own ability or in his own game anymore. And that, I think, has put question marks over his future. And if the comments are true, he's Ten Hag's frustrated, and Jadon Sancho saw that. Maybe he feels like he doesn't have a future at this football club. Does he really think he's a first-team player under this manager? And does Jadon Sancho think he's going to make it at the top level at Man United? I'm not sure. Maybe the pressure playing in the Premier League simply isn't working for Jadon Sancho, and he simply can't cope with the Premier League style of football that Ten Hag is looking for. And I felt like Sancho had a huge opportunity to be able to show what he could do in a Man United shirt. And in that game, I witnessed absolutely nothing that gave me any confidence to see that Jadon Sancho is going to be here long term. And I think if you're going to have to sell him in the summer, you're going to have to find a replacement, because if you sell Jadon Sancho, you're going to have to find a decent replacement next season to be able to fill the void that Sancho is going to leave. But I think we need to start seeing performance out of him in the next few games, because otherwise I think Jadon Sancho is in deep, deep danger of being able to be put back on the bench again. And I think, having Alejandro Garnacho still out injured as well, I think if Garnacho was fit today, I do feel like Alejandro Garnacho probably would have started this game, and I feel like he would have probably have caused Everton a lot more attacking threat on their goal than what Sancho was shown in that game, because it simply wasn't on show today. And Garnacho's still young, he's still learning. For me, he's probably going to be the next Cristiano Ronaldo, because Garnacho's got the game and the ability to be able to step it up in a Man United shirt. And you've already seen on several occasions that Garnacho's got the level and the ability to be able to do it. And I think if Garnacho was fit today, and I think he would have started over Sancho, because I think Garnacho's the better player. I think he's got a lot more development in him. And I feel like Sancho's probably now only a backup option off the bench. And I think Ten Hag's probably figured out Sancho's game very, very quickly. I also have to think from today that I think Wan-Bissaka did have a very good game. I don't feel like, in my opinion, he can get forward with the ball very well. Wan-Bissaka's best ability about it is to put a decent tackle in. He can't really close down the opposition Everton players that are attacking the wings. He can't really put a decent ball or cross into the box. Sometimes he overruns with the ball, and I felt like today he was showing a lot of that throughout this whole game. And I felt like we've got a problem at right back, and I can see why then Delot has been benched again, because I felt like, Delot was crap against Brentford, and Wan-Bissaka has been given an opportunity now to show what he could do. But again, today I saw the same old right back issue that we have been suffering with all season, that I don't think personally we've got any decent right backs. Delot isn't good enough. Wan-Bissaka isn't good enough either. And I do have to worry that long term, if that's the options we've got off the bench, then I do worry that if we don't get a decent right back in the summer, we are going to have the same old problems next season with Delot and Wan-Bissaka. I personally think we should sell both. I felt like there's better right backs out there to be at Man United Football Club. And I do feel like today that Wan-Bissaka's game wasn't up there to get you any confidence or morale boost off, because he simply hasn't got anything in it to deliver it long term. And I felt like, that was a bloody major issue in that team today, because it simply wasn't on show that Wan-Bissaka's got any quality at right back. I mean, we paid 50 fucking million to Crystal Palace, and that type of performance belongs at Crystal Palace. That is not the level I think Ten Hag wants. I think he wants an attacking right back that can get forward with the ball, put a decent cross or ball into the box to find a player or a striker or a winger in the box to be able to put the ball in the net for United. So I felt like Wan-Bissaka's game as a whole against Everton, it simply wasn't justified that he was great. I felt like he was woeful at times for me. I don't get anything from Wan-Bissaka start the game that suits this system. And if we keep seeing Wan-Bissaka, I would rather just get Delot back in this team. But the problem is Delot and Wan-Bissaka are both having so many up and down games in their form, we're ending up having to revert back to both of them at several bloody occasions, because, I think both of them are liabilities. I don't think either of them are actually that great, and I wouldn't have paid the money that, Jose Mourinho would have given him. I don't think, Solskjaer should have been given the money to sign Wan-Bissaka. I don't think personally Jose Mourinho should have been given the money to find Diego Delot. It's just not justified that both of them get in this team. And I think Personally, I would go and sell both, go and get 2 world-class right-backs in the summer transfer window, and go and deliver a decent right-back performance for Man United Football Club, because long-term, if they're their options at right-back, we ain't putting decent crosses into the box. We're not going to be able to get the ball forward. And I think what we're trying to look for a right-back that is suiting Anthony's game on the right wing, so both of them can connect throughout each half. And I felt like today that Wan-Bissaka and Delo, if both of them would have played today, I don't think either of them would have got the best out of each other for Anthony, because they simply don't have it in their game to be able to deliver what Anthony wants on the right wing. And that's a major cause for concern, I think, heading into the summer, that if you're stuck with Wan-Bissaka, I don't really think this is going to work out very well. I think we've then got to move on to Weghorst. I mean, I think the option off the bench is crazy. I don't see how Weghorst even gets on this bench. Didn't really have a massive positive impact since he came on in the second half to replace, obviously, the injured Marcus Rashford, which is a bloody worry. I mean, if we're stuck with Weghorst, the BFG's best friend in the Iron Giant, I really can't see a positive outcome in the next 2 weeks. And please subscribe if you're new to the channel, by the way. You're all legends in your own way, so please subscribe if you're new. I don't think Weghorst was the signing we should have gone for. Personally, I think Man United should have just found the money for João Felix, or they should have found the money for Cody Gakpo, because I think having Rashford out injured now and having to bloody play Weghorst up front is going to be a big problem, because if we start Martial against Sevilla Thursday night, they'll probably end up having to start Weghorst down the middle, and to have that up front is an embarrassment enough. And to have him chatting with former Burnley coaches who are now at Everton under Sean Dyche, that is basically, I think, Weghorst's level is Everton. I don't think Weghorst will even get in Burnley's team now, because Weghorst simply hasn't got any aerial ability. He isn't great with the ball. He isn't great with the possession. He's slow. He's lethargic. The only advantage he's got is his height, and that's really, for me, about it. That's all Weghorst can do. And I don't think really that is an acceptable performance today in the second half from a player that we should have went nowhere near in the first place. And that's the option for Rashford. I don't see how Man United are going to find the goals in the next 2 weeks against the several teams that United have got to play. Weghorst is not the right option for this club. We should have gone and got better in January. We've basically fed the manager to the wolves again. We've basically, down-tooled and basically underlined another manager's positive impact on this football club. And I think if Weghorst is signed in the summer, it's a joke. If Man United do sign Weghorst, I'm going to lose my shit, because he has not done a good job since he's come in. He's not great in games for Man United. He offers no goal scoring threat. 2 goals in 13 games is shit. That is simply not acceptable. Weghorst really is not a good enough striker. Why Man United were allowed to make this signing when the fans should have been putting pressure on the board and the owners to go and sign Gakpo. We should have been putting pressure and on the board and the owners to go and get João Felix. Not enough was done, and this is the outcome. You're basically signing an ex-Burnley reject to sort the goal-scoring problem. That isn't acceptable. That's not fair on Ten Hag. He shouldn't really have to be delivering Martial and Weghorst as the options off the bench. You really could have done with a Gakpo. You could have done with João Felix. That game would have been a lot more clinical with those two up front, because you look at the job Gakpo's done at Liverpool, you look at the impact João Felix has had at Chelsea, those two players should have been in a Man United shirt, not without Weghorst. He doesn't even deserve to wear a shirt at this club. He shouldn't even been brought off the bench. But the problem is, Ten Hag has got no replacement for Marcus Rashford. This is the only massive negative sign from today, that losing Rashford to a groin injury this season could be over quickly. This season could go spiraling down without Marcus Rashford, because we're reliant on the 28 goal scoring striker this year. 28 goals in one season is crazy for Marcus Rashford after what we had to witness under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Ralph Rangnick. And I do feel like, if he's out long term, I do worry about where we're heading to the rest of the season. Can Man United still win the Europa League? Can we still win the FA Cup without Marcus Rashford? My deep line opinion, no, we're not. We're not going to win anything without Marcus Rashford in this team. I also feel like, the missing of Luke Shaw and Donny van der Beek still is a massive problem going forward, because I feel like, I can see why Luke Shaw's now being getting selected. I can see now why Ten Hag is picking him. And I can see why Luke Shaw gets in this team over Malacia, because Malacia simply ain't good enough on the ball. He can't score a goal. He can't run at the defensive back four. He always tracks back and ends up passing it back to De Gea with his right foot. And I felt like also, the goalkeeping situation, Jack Butland hasn't seen one game of football since he signed for this club. Shouldn't have been signed in the first place. But the only problem is Jack Butland is only on that Man United bench because Tom Heaton is out injured. How Tom Heaton picked up an injury before an international break is ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous how Tom Heaton picked up an injury when he doesn't even play international football, doesn't play a game for Man United, and basically is injured. And that's why Jack Butland is on the bench. And this is why those goalkeepers don't feature for Man United in this season, because those two goalkeepers are not good enough. They shouldn't even be at this club. We need to be brutal with the goalkeeping situation in the summer. I do feel like we do need a brand new goalkeeper. David De Gea probably was a lot better today than what he was against Brentford. His distribution was a lot better out of the box. His clearances from the Everton players running at him in the penalty area was the correct decision for De Gea to do. I felt like De Gea probably had his most calm game today. Didn't really have any threat from Everton as a goal-scoring threat that could put the ball in the net, because Everton haven't got the players really to be able to deliver what I think Sean Dyche is looking for. Hello. So, yeah, I felt like today, we're lucky to win, in my opinion. We're lucky we've won 2-0, but it should have been a lot more goals from that Man United team today, because there's enough quality in that team to get bigger and better results in games against Everton, because Everton are fighting for relegation. They're fighting for their lives to stay up in the Premier League. They are fighting for their lives to survive as a football club altogether as well. And I felt like, those 21 shots on goal is a major concern that we didn't convert one. 1 out of 22 shots on goal, that ain't good enough from a Man United side. That's not good enough from a Man United team. That is not good enough from these Man United players, when you should be converting half these chances on goal you get. You're being given golden eggs to put the ball in the net. You were given golden opportunities to bury Everton in that first half, and we simply didn't deliver it. And I think, if that's the problem going forward, then I don't see where Man United are going to find their goals in the next few games. But at least we've won today. We've got the result, and it's a positive weekend for Man United fans and Man United supporters. You're all legends, and you're all legendary, by the way. So please subscribe to the channel and the community if you are new. Come and join me on this channel. Come be part of the journey for the future, and be happy that, we've got the result we wanted. We got the win we wanted. We got the points that we needed. We got the victory that we needed for Champions League qualification. We are clearing top four now. I do feel like after this win, top four is going to be ours. We'll be back in the Champions League next season. We'll be back at Europe's elite table. I just want Man United to be a bit more clinical up front in the next few games. And I think we've got the players to do it. I think we've got the squad to do it. I just worry because you also looked at that game. Harry Maguire looks like he was holding his hamstring. So it looks like Harry Maguire's hamstring has gone. So that means that useless fridge is going to be out of the next game, which means hopefully Raphael Varane will be back in that team. And I couldn't understand why Raphael Varane, Eriksen and Martial were all on that bench today. I think if you would have started Rashford on the left, Martial down the middle, Varane at centre back with Martinez, and you had Luke Shaw as well, and Delo, I felt like that game would have been a lot more emphatic. That team would have had a few more goals to their name today. But a 2-0 win, it's not to be sneezed at. We've won the game. We've won at Old Trafford. It's back-to-back Premier League wins since the Carabao Cup final, which we won against Newcastle at Wembley in a 2-0 result. We've kept another clean sheet. It's back-to-back clean sheets in the league. We're clearing top four now. I do feel like this is going to be a pivotal point now for Man United to keep winning. Obviously, the confidence is there. The injuries are coming back on our side, but just hoping now this Marcus Rashford injury is not as severe as what it looks. But if it is a severe groin injury, I think Man United season will derail. I think without Marcus Rashford, this team looks doomed. And I'm hoping the groin injury, he can recover from quickly, because the confidence is there in his game to be able to do it. But if it's bad and Ten Hag doesn't want to risk it, how long was Marcus Rashford going to be out for? How long will he be out of this team? And will the goals in that team be able to be backing him up when he's not in that team? Can Martial do it? Can Weghorst do it? Can Sancho and Anthony and Garnacho all deliver the goals without Marcus Rashford in that team? Time will tell what will happen towards the end of this season now. But obviously, without Marcus Rashford after today, And if he's missing the next 6 or 7 games when you've got Chelsea and Spurs still to play and Sevilla and Nottingham Forest and Wolves and Bournemouth, it's a worry because you're going to have to find where are the goal source coming from. Because if Martial can't do it and Weghorst can't do it, and if Garnacho is still out injured and Anthony and Sancho can't do it, you do worry where the goals are coming from in this team. But at least, we've won the game today. We've got the result. We've got the win. We've got the 3 points. And hopefully we'll keep winning now and we'll keep winning until the end of the season. So, I've given my man of the match to Bruno Fernandes, Marcel Sabitzer and Anthony from today's match. They're my 3 man of the match award contenders. So I hope you enjoyed the reaction. Remember to hit the like button, hit the share button. Please subscribe to the channel and the community if you're new. And to share the video. Hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button. Remember to always remember put the notification bell on, also to receive dedicated content right throughout the rest of 2023 on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. For more Fortnite content, Hogwarts Legacy, Kingdom Hearts 4. We'll also be doing FIFA 23 career mode still, Football Manager, new Formula 1 game, more previews, more match reactions, more brand new content planned for the rest of 2023 on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. So please subscribe to the community and channel if you're new. Go and check out my other socials. I'm on Twitter. I'm also on TikTok as well. So go give me a follow on both of them. And then please lead to subscribe to this channel as well. Become part of the journey. Become part of the venture. And also join me for the preview for the Sevilla game, which we will be doing Monday evening. We'll be doing the preview for the quarterfinal of the Europa League first leg against Sevilla Monday afternoon. So please join me for that as well. The preview for the Europa League quarterfinal first leg against Sevilla for the game on the 13th of April, next Thursday evening. Hopefully, we don't lose Marcus Rashford long term. Hopefully, he recovers from this injury very, very quickly. Hopefully, the groin injury is picked up is not as severe as what it looked, because I think without Marcus Rashford, this team's in big trouble to find any goals from. I don't think we've got the quality or the players to be able to find the goals that we need to paper over Marcus Rashford's injury. But let's see what happens. If he has to have a scan, let's see what the scan brings up. Let's see what the results of the scan brings up. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy this glorious weather around the UK today. Enjoy the Easter holiday as well. Happy Easter to everybody as well. Remember to stay safe, be nice, and be kind to each other. You're all amazing. You're all legendary. You're all legends. And I will speak to you guys Monday evening. Thanks for watching.